Okay, everyone. Hello. Today I would like to introduce you to Basile Lemba. Hopefully I said your name right. He is in Virginia and an online networking trainer and coach. He has over 20 years experience with networking, and he has a book coming out on networking, and he teaches people how to network. And that can be a challenge in today's day and age because we can't meet each other in person anymore. Everything is online.
Right.
So, Basile, tell us, how did you get started in networking and why is it your passion?
Well, actually, to make a long story short, I'm originally from Africa. I left when I was 14 from Cameroon, and I went to France, lived there for 10 years, and then moved to the US. Spent 10 years in Florida, moved up Northern Virginia. Then I started my business, which was maybe not a good idea because I did not know anyone. But then I had the idea of going to a Chamber of Commerce, and then I had people I could talk to about my business. And that's how I discovered the world of networking. But I couldn't understand it and I didn't know what I was doing. It was not quite clear. One day I went to an event with 150 people thinking that I'm going to come out with 30 to 40 business cards. And I
Mm-hmm.
came out with three. So at the end of the event, I was like, and then I realized that the problem was that the event was not necessarily organized for you to network. So I went to people like you are watching us. And I say, when you go to an event, what do you want to see happening? I wrote that down. What is that you don't want? I wrote that down. So I took the things they wanted and I created a breakfast event.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it started. And later down the line, I realized that people did not necessarily know how to network. That's how I put together networking know-how so they can network properly.
Don't some people find it like I'm an introvert, so going into a large group like that and trying to introduce yourself is not something that comes natural, right?
I'll answer like I'll say answer like a lawyer, meaning it depends.
Aha, okay.
uh, let's let's take a look at this, Beverly. We all drive a car. Okay, we did a survey. We asked people, "Do you drive a car?" They say, "Oh yes." How do you learn how to drive? Oh, number one, I went to driving school. Number two, somebody taught me. Number three, all of the above. Very good. The next question was, do you network or attempt to network? Of course, of course. How do you learn how to network? The answer was, number one, I just walked into the room. Number two, somebody pushed me into the room. That was the totality of their training.
That's about my training too.
So you understand, it's not that driving a car, by the way, is way more complex, way more dangerous than networking.
It's true.
Oh, I see. So for us, as far as we're concerned, if you can drive a car, we can teach you how to network because it's way easier, less demanding, and what have you. But the problem is, people have never had a codified networking know-how. So it become a hit and miss proposition. And then we say he's an introvert or he's a natural. He was born that way. Well, we never say he's an introvert driver or a natural driver. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you go to the school, you learn the skill, and you can apply it.
Uh-huh.
The problem is when it comes to networking, there has never been. I mentioned the event that I've created and I started it. When I started put together networking know-how, people was coming to me and saying, you need to write a book on networking. You
Mm-hmm.
need to make a course on networking. And I was like, excuse me? I didn't know. I thought it was unknown. And that's when I realized that there was no, in actual fact, workable networking know-how out there.
I've been to so many events where you walk in, it's a room full of people, and you walk around passing out your business card. You go home with a bunch of business cards, and everybody was there to sell, no one was there to buy. So it was a
Well,
waste of time
well,
and
you are
business
correct.
cards.
No, again, in alignment with what you're saying, a survey was done at the Chamber of Commerce. It was a networking event. They was asked, who is here to sell something? All hands went up. Who is here to buy something? All hands went down.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker. They was at a networking event.
Nobody networked.
You got that right.
Yeah. So tell us what networking really is about. What are the fundamentals?
Yeah, I was able to put together correct networking know-how, and because I hit on two specific major data.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, which we happened to be what I discovered watching a program, it was about royalty. And one common reporter, and he says royalty has two prime rules. One is interested, two, putting your personal interest last. This caught my attention. I couldn't get that out of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I kept thinking about it. I kept thinking about it. I said, why is this important? What does that mean? What is the ramification of it? Then I realized these are the fundamental rules of networking. They happen to be the prime rule when royalty was royalty, because this day and age, we don't have royalty from my viewpoint. But when royalty was royalty, these are the key rules they were using
Mm-hmm.
to deal with people. Mind you, when we say royalty, everybody get jacked up, but try to be a royalty. Royalty is not an easy job. You have the people inside who don't want you to be a royalty. You have the external countries who want to take over. So it is a tricky position. The way they get to deal with one another is by using those two fundamental rules. So that was one. The second one I discovered also studying administration in the past, and I mentioned now the fact that the example at the Chamber of Commerce, where people ask, who's here to sell something? All the hands went up. Who's here to buy something? All hands went down. So that was sales. Okay. When people go to a networking arena, then they covertly or overtly, to the survey, is trying to sell something, which is great. And if you look at the world of networking as it is, and if you have been in business for more than 24 hours, you would have heard this thing called the elevator speech.
Elevator speech, yes.
So that means you walked up to somebody and tell them what to do. Okay. Most people will tell you that's what it is. You got to be ready. You got to know it. You got to be able to give it. It's push, 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 push to people. So when they walk into the room, all they're thinking about is delivering, or all they are tending to do is to deliver the elevator speech.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you take a look at the elevator speech and think about it, what it is a promotion.
You're selling yourself.
Yeah, you're promoting yourself, your business, and what have you. So literally, the bulk of networking has been at worst covered over sales, if not promoting ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And never graduated to networking.
Mm-hmm.
Networking is before, and I say that I have a book coming out. One of the things I need to work out is the purpose of networking, for example.
Mm-hmm.
The purpose of networking is to create acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
You create acceptance. Once you create acceptance in somebody's mind, now they are ready to hear what you are, what you do, and you're telling to them. And then after that, if they like it, then they can buy it. So it is networking, promotion, and sales. That's the sequence to get business.
So networking should really be getting to know each other first.
Most definitely. Most definitely. I mentioned at the beginning where I was troubled with because I couldn't understand what was happening. I understood business, but because it was the first time I started doing networking, what I had to work out is to figure out for myself is based on the definition of organization. One of the best definition of organization is what belongs where.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what I had to ask myself when I answered the question, where does networking fit in all this? I couldn't see it because I understood business, but where does that fit? And then I realized that it came before promotion. And from there, you could explain it. From there, you could deal with it successfully. In fact, even the definition of networking in the dictionary was incorrect. It's incorrect, actually.
Ah, what does it say?
Well, you don't want to know what it says.
I don't want to know.
I'm just kidding.
It's connecting computers to each other, right?
Not far, not too far. But I'm saying that actually because I mentioned the group that we have been running it for years. At one point, I had a realization. We invite people like you or anybody else to talk about banking, social media, and everything, but nobody ever talked about networking. Yet it was networking group. Then I took it on myself to do a presentation on networking.
Mm.
And in doing that, I went and looked up the definition of networking in the dictionary.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I found that it was incorrect. You see, because if I did what they said, I will fail. And I mean, you have experience. I put on event on networking. I knew that's not what it was. And in fact, that's when I understood the people was asking me to write a book, because I realized those people never came to me and say, you need to write a book on how to drive a car. Why? They know how to drive a car. They don't need a book. But if they kept asking about a book on networking, it meant something was missing. Remember, I did not grow up in the US, so I didn't know what they knew or didn't know. And certainly, I was the last one to come and tell them, that's not how you go about it. Who are you? Where are you from?
Yeah.
You know? So then I understood that something was missing. And that's how I put together all the information and put together a book about it.
Very good. Yeah, in project management classes I took years ago when I was in corporate America, they said the first thing you have to do when you meet someone is it's called bridging. In other words, what do you have in common? Okay, we're both human. Where do you go from there? And you kind of get to know each other before you start to work together.
Mhm.
And I think that that's exactly what you're saying for networking is
Right.
people are only going to buy from you when they know you and like you. They're not going to buy otherwise. And to me, my whole opinion on networking has changed to finding partners. Rather than selling to that person, who do you know that I can sell to and who do I know that you can sell to?
Right.
Which is a whole different paradigm and changed my thinking completely. So, how does networking affect business and your personal life? Does this then translate into your personal life, not just in your business?
Well, very much so, actually. After people demanded that I write a book, I finally put a draft of the book. And once I did, I asked myself, how do I know that this work?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can have any theory. You go into networking. I had a conference that I'm put on, and I got some health fitness people there. And she said, well, today somebody wants to have checks about something about health. They go to Dr. Google. I said, who? She said, Dr. Google.
Yeah.
So, today you go to Google, you have all. And the other one will say, I'm pro for it. I'm say confident. I joke about it. I say, you're trying to find out what would be the proper diet to you. And then you say, maybe you should eat tomatoes. And then you grab the tomatoes. Before you go to the next sentence or this next guy say, put it down, don't eat it. it's like almost, so it's don't really not good for you. It's so confusing out there. We're really swimming into all that different viewpoints. So then what I did, I brought business people in. So I introduced them to the materials to see, yeah, it's fine that I say this is what it is, or that's my theory, but it's really when they can apply it and use it successfully, only then would you know.
Mm-hmm.
So after that first class, I asked them for the feedback. And of course, I was teaching them networking so they can get more business.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked them for the feedback, and they were writing, this is life-changing. This is changing my life. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm not trying to change your life. I'm trying to teach you how to get business. Then I realized that the materials I was putting in front of them, though I was looking through the lens of business,
Uh-huh.
they were seeing how they could use it and improve their life 180 degrees.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it applies to everything we do, doesn't it?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I mean, I say that the definition of society is human being and their relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Whichever way you spin it, is human being and their relationships. Very good. So now, how those relationships worked out is based on how they network.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If they have the principle of networking, then they have good relationship. And it goes, like the people are testing, it goes for the family. They were seeing how it can help them, their family, in their social life, as well as in their business. But they was talking about it because they didn't see that coming.
Mm-hmm.
When they came in, they was thinking business. And the materials come and they say, oh my God, what? I can apply that to my life too.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? So it's a skill that's fundamental. It could be used. I was asked to come and speak at a conference to family because you can use in family those skills,
Mm-hmm.
and you can use them in society as well as in business. And
Yes.
I used to use this sentence. I said the quality of. I used to say that, but this is true. I said the quality of your life is proportionate to the quality of your networking.
Well, that's, if I can get a little metaphysical, that's what the Aquarian age is all about that we're going into is relationships and partnering with people. So I think your book and your message is very timely for the times that we're in right now. And especially, so everything now is going online. So how does that change networking and affect it?
Oh my God. It's so much more because now more than ever, you really need to be skilled in networking.
Mm.
I say that because of this. In person is easier. You stand in front of me, we can connect more easily. But through the screen, what have you, is we have something between us.
Yeah.
We have a medium there. So now you really need to know even better to be able to make that work. For example, you're talking to somebody, well, he has a glass of water, he has a dog, his attention just easily go away. He has a window, he has a work being done outside of his house, whatever. Whereas when we used to be in the room only, all that, it was easy to get the attention of the person in front of you. Today, they have a zillion of distraction and everything else. So therefore, today, you really need to know your stuff, if I may say so you can get their attention and build and do something with that relationship. It has to do with the communication. It also has to do with the use of the mediums themselves that we're using. So more than ever, really, we need to up and improve our networking because people are easily distracted. They're listening to you or not listening to you. You don't even know. You can notice. You can pay attention to them. Because networking sits on communication. Communication means you have to understand fully what I'm saying. So if there's no way, or there's no way for, if you cannot somehow get to me what it's saying fully, we won't really be in relationship because you're talking about Apple, I'm thinking orange or something else. So more than ever, one really need those fundamentals of networking so as to get the attention of the other person and build that relationship.
So you have to get their attention and then you have to retain it.
Exactly. So that's much harder because they easily, they have the wall in front of them, they have what they are looking for, they have the dog and everything else. So it requires even much more skill, I would say.
Yeah, I can see that. That makes a lot of sense. So do you think that's one of the biggest struggles people have today with networking, or is there something else?
Well, it boils down to the fundamental, which we talked about. And as I mentioned, they have never been known. What are the cardinal rules? If I walked up to somebody and say, what are the cardinal rules of networking? Unless they've been to my class, they won't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I tell them, what is the purpose of networking? Unless they've been to my class, they won't know. But let me say this. There's a reason for that. Okay, I mentioned driving a car. If you stand up now and say you want to drive a car, before you get into the car, you're going to have a police between you and the car. They're going to say, where is your driver license? Well, you say, well, I don't have any. They say you can't get in there. But take the opposite. You stand up and go to a networking event. There's no police there. Nobody comes and says, what is your networking license? Nobody asking for it. What's the reason for that? And that is this. When man sees danger as imminent, he makes sure that people are trained. But when danger is not imminent, because then nobody bothers. You see, that is the simple reason. Because you and I can meet a networking event. Whatever happened. Nobody's going to die.
Nobody's going to die, but as you were saying that, I'm going, no, but your business is at risk.
Of course, but then
network.
because they don't see blood flowing, so therefore it never caught anybody attention. But wait, when they start seeing blood, then everybody wake up and smell the coffee.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I have my uncle, I always give that example. When I was a little kid, he was training to become a pilot. He was our uncle. Yeah, a pilot, yes. So we were asking him all the time, why don't you take the 747 and go up there by yourself? Because it was our uncle. We want to tell all the neighborhood, hello, see up there, that's our uncle. That's what I want to tell our uncle. So we all go take the 747, don't the co-pilot, go by yourself. But I said, well, no, no, it doesn't work that way. I got to study the theory first. I got to do the practical, and I got to spend hours and hours and hours with my instructor, and then maybe one day I become a co-pilot. Before I finish the story, I'm no longer interested. Like,
A lot of steps.
yeah, but that's what it takes to become a pilot. And not only that, after you do all that, man, when another person sitting next to you, he's called a co-pilot, just in case.
Just in case.
Just in case somebody sitting next to you. But networking, nobody say bring your body to go to network. Hey, do whatever, you know.
Co-pilot.
Nobody really codifying and working at networking.
That's
You know, I go to over the years. I funded my research myself. When I hear funding in the past here and there, I'll go. And then I hear funding by tech, IT. Nobody was funding the humanities. So even then, the investor, the government, the money goes into tech. It doesn't go into the humanities.
No, that's true. And if you get a degree in humanities, it's hard to get a job.
Yeah, if you mess yourself up. I mean, you're on your own. I went to a meeting one day, one of the top high company in AI in the country. I was invited there, and I worked in a meeting, and then they're talking about the prowess, technological prowess, they do whatever and all that, and I'm smiling. And I turned to the lady, I said, "What? Well, you guys are making so much progress because nobody invests in humanities." And she looked at me and said, "Well, there's no money in humanities." I said, "Yeah, maybe so, but you know, still human being who make the tech, but there's no money in humanities." I mean, I couldn't get her to sue, and she does like humanities. Don't. We neglected the humanities. That's what's happened.
That's true. People aren't studying all of that old stuff that I studied when I was young.
Well, you know, it is a problem because you can see it with the younger generation today. I mean, I work hard really to get information out there, and I'll continue. I went to an event once. It was a wake, and then I was in the house, and kids upstairs were making some noise. So I left the waking meeting to go and keep them quiet so that the ceremony can take place downstairs without being interrupted. And then I'm sitting there. You have one guy laying on the bed in that room there, another one sitting on the other side, at the end of the bed. And he calls him over the phone. The other guy's phone is ringing and telling me, "Pick it up." I went like this to see if I was seeing what I was saying. He's laying on a bed, calling somebody who is at the tail end of the other bed, and asking him to pick up the phone so they can talk on the phone in the exact same room. It was beyond. It was unreal to me. It was like I was in a dream.
Yeah, that's a different reality from
reality. And one, I was on a trip on a cruise once, and I was on a table, and then there was a middle-aged person, and the subject went into networking. We started talking. There was millennials around the table. They all Beverly put their phone down and started listening.
They did.
It was a good thing for me because it gave me high hope.
Yeah.
That they want to know. That's what I wanted. They want to know because they realize, I mean, that something is off somewhere. So that was really the comforting experience for me, really, because we look at it, we just like, we don't know. But then it was a good sign for me because it told me they wanted to know. They never knew because the technology just rolled over them, and that was that.
So do you have anything else about networking you would like to share?
I would say the IRS report that only 6% of the business make a six figures. Okay. This has everything to do with networking.
Oh.
Everything. Okay. In one of my conferences, I talked about the sequence that I developed, networking, promotion, and sales. One of my conferences, somebody screamed, said, "Oh my God, the government, we buy programs having to do with sales. We buy programs having to do with promotion, but they never bought anything having to do with networking."
Guilty.
But that is the sequence. And it starts with networking. If networking is not done properly, so usually you have very little coming through that pipe.
Yep.
So it's really fundamental that we learn this subject of networking because it affects not only individual lives, as attested by our first class where they all like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. And I see that regularly in testimonials, to how much business they can get.
Yeah. So without proper networking, you're limiting your business.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Which affects your life.
Yeah, well, be simple. Let's say one of the big parts of networking is just good manners, okay? Let's say you get out of your house and your neighbor's there and you don't say hello to them. Or let's do the other way around. They say hello to you, you don't answer. And they say hello, you don't answer. You say hello to you, 4 or 5 times, you guys are going to wind up in a fight. Because manners are violated.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They say hello to you, you ignore them. You say hello to you, next thing you know, you're going to wind up in a fight. Something's going to happen.
Yeah.
But guess what? The same thing happened in the world of business. If you don't behave properly with people, it doesn't. No, they may not do anything, but that means that you won't get the business. As we were saying earlier, we won't connect. Nothing will happen, regardless if you knew or what. You may not even be aware of you not knowing, but it's a natural law. It's going to take place.
Yes. Yes.
No one not know. It doesn't matter. It's going to happen.
Manners are important.
Yes, they are part of networking for that matter. So therefore, if you don't apply, use that information, then it's going to affect your individual life as well as your business, inevitably. And the sad part of it is that sometimes you don't even know, you're not even aware of it taking place. But like a natural law, it takes place. Throw an apple up, it's come down. You can argue all day long, but the apple ever goes up, it's going to come down. Similarly, if you're not doing the proper thing with the people around you, that's going to affect your relationships.
Yes, this is very true. And so you have a program where you help people learn these rules and manners?
Yes, absolutely. The first, they say before, if you want to go somewhere, you want to find out exactly precisely where you're at to begin with. You're going on a journey, you want to know where you are, and then knowing where you want to go, and then you can map a road. So we put together what I call the networking strength analysis checklist. Mm-hmm. I have the link there. Beverly can put the link there for you. We want you to fill it out, it comes to us, and then we get back to you. Now you know exactly where you are, you know your strength, and then now you know what you need to work on in order to get to be the best you can be and get the best result, as much good success as you can get.
Very good. Yeah. So if everybody looks down below, you can see my finger. I will post his link to his blnetworking.net/nsc.html, but the link will be down there, and then you can take his complimentary networking assessment to see where you are and what you maybe need to work on for yourself. So thank you, Basile. This has been very informative and interesting. You're a fun person to talk to, and I enjoyed it very much. Thank you for being with us.
My pleasure, Beverly. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.